Well, it's Thursday already, May 7th, and you have the Day Weather Podcast. It's going to be one of those Wyoming, Colorado wind festivals today, but then better weather is coming on Friday. Cold front is moving through the region. Wind, cooler temperatures, and a few showers will be around. This front really is not going to produce much moisture for many folks. The wind and the colder temperatures is what you'll notice the most. Overall, it'll be cooler through early next week. I wouldn't call it cold, it's just going to be cool. And this will be especially true Mother's Day weekend east of the Divide. The west side of the Divide is where the best weather will be. If you live in western Colorado, western Wyoming, Utah, Idaho, that's where all the warmth is going to be. East of the mountains, cold air spilling in from the Midwest will make it a different story there. Now, rain chances are going to go up early next week. In fact, we do expect maybe to get wet again in many areas, with shower and thunderstorm activity coming back in next week as the Pacific starts to throw something our way. These are the wind speeds by Thursday afternoon or later today. Notice these peak wind gusts. You see a lot of 40s and 50s there. And it's not only Wyoming that's windy today, but northeast Colorado, even Denver and the Panhandle, Nebraska. That's where the winds are going to be the strongest. So I-25, I-80, be ready for the winds. The good news about the wind today, though, is that it's a one-day event. Wind speeds are going to drop off, but we'll have to get through a blustery, colder day today. Precipitation-wise, through Sunday, this is where most of the showers are going to be. Up, better moisture in Montana, south of North Dakota, northeastern Wyoming. A little bit of shower activity will pop up later today and tomorrow, and maybe could even have a couple of light showers developing on Saturday. But there's no significant moisture. And look how dry it is west of the Divide here through Mother's Day. So that's why if you're west of the Divide, you get a happy face. You have some really nice Mother's Day weekend weather. East of the Divide, well, certainly going to be colder. And here it is. These are temperatures relative to average for Mother's Day afternoon. You can see that east of the mountains, you see the blue and the green. Those are the coldest temperatures. But the coldest of the cold is going to be Nebraska, Kansas, over here, up in the North and South Dakota. The closer you get to the mountains, the cold air is a little bit thinner and not as bad. But west of the Divide, look how warm it is. Wow, nice and toasty warm for Mother's Day. So west of the Divide, moms are going to have the best weather. Jet stream pattern looks like this. This is where we are on Saturday, this big high in western Canada, driving this big, massive trough and very cold air into the nation's midsection for the weekend. As we've been talking about this week, this part of the country here going to be really, really cold, and the cold air is going to go all the way down into the Gulf Coast. But along the West Coast, warm air is building up, and some of this warm air will have a chance to get pushed in early next week. But you can see how cold it is. I think the coldest day that we're going to have is going to be Tuesday in this area. On Tuesday, temperatures are going to really be chilly relative to average east of the mountains. And you can see the West Coast here starting to cool off. And this is with a low pressure system coming off the West Coast. That low pressure system off the West Coast brings rain back into the forecast. So as we get into Monday through Friday of next week, we're going to see a pipeline of Pacific moisture helping to bring some shower and thunderstorm activity back into this region here. This is not unlike what happened this past weekend and late last week when we got into some showers and thunderstorms here and there. We see that returning early next week with temperatures cool. Certainly, we're not going to see the 70s and 80s like we've had at times this spring. Temperatures closer to average. This is what it looks like. Here's that West Coast storm system. This is for Monday, and this system going to bring more of a westerly flow, but Pacific moisture is going to be coming in with that system. 10 days out, we have a weak area of low pressure here in the southern plains that will probably be responsible for showers and thunderstorms late next week and towards next weekend, but a more mild flow of air comes in. But this guy here is going to likely swing in later in the forecast period, and here he is. Right around the 20th, 21st, 22nd of May, we're going to have to deal with an area of low pressure coming through that will likely bring cooler, wet weather to this region here. And we usually see these late May, slow-moving troughs that can really bring some good and needed rain. And then you start to see towards that Memorial Day weekend high pressure wanting to be a little bit stronger. But notice high pressure builds in the eastern United States, so there's going to be a little bit of a reversal. Right around the third week of May, it warms up in the east, cools off and gets wet in the west. So if you're looking for more rain, it's coming, but not for the rest of this week. It'll be next week and the week after that looks more wet again. Thanks for tuning in to the Day Weather Podcast. We'll talk to you on Friday, and on Friday we'll have another visit from Shane Smith to talk about some gardening.